Hello and welcome to another episode of the Experiencing Love podcast. I am your host, Philip Jacks, and I've been thinking a lot recently about goals, and the new year coming around gives a clean slate, and a lot of times it could be really easy to, set New Year's resolutions and not follow through with them. A couple years back, I remember telling myself, I'm done with New Year's resolutions. Over. Because they don't work. They're useless to me. And I stopped setting New Year's resolutions, but I didn't stop setting goals. I just stopped waiting for the excuse that January 1st was when I would start changing things, when I would set a new goal, or when I would start achieving new goals. So, I've been thinking recently about that decision back then and the impact it's had on my life now. The fact that I don't wait until some landmark or milestone of a date to tell me, okay, now is the time to go. Now is the time to move forward. And I found that had the greatest impact on my emotional well-being, because then I didn't have that feeling of either dread of waiting for a change to happen, or I didn't have the feeling of disappointment when something wouldn't work and I would say, oh, now I have to wait another year, or now I have to wait another few months, or now I have to wait another few days. The most likely option was a few days, because I would always say, oh, I'll start on Monday. It's always Monday, isn't it? Anyways, I started thinking recently about setting goals and how useful it is to measure your goals regularly. I don't know who needs to hear this, but there's this quote that I've always loved. What you measure is what you manage. If you set a New Year's resolution and you set a goal, and by January 13th, you've already stumbled once or twice, and by, say, January 30th, it slipped from your mind, you don't even work on that goal anymore, and you don't think about that goal until January 1st of the next year, you're only giving yourself one chance every year to pivot, to readjust, to do something different, to realign yourself with your goal. The more often you measure something, the more opportunities you give yourself to pivot and to adjust and to move forward. And so I very recently just thought of the term New Month Resolution. It's obviously a spin-off of New Year's Resolution, but just changing up the wording like that interrupts the pattern in my brain of thinking, what is a New Year's resolution? The benefit of a New Month Resolution is that it gives you at least 12 chances in 1 year to relook at your goals and to realign yourself with your goals. So that means, January 13th, you've slipped up. But by January 30th, you're already rethinking about your goal and getting back on track. That's a practice I plan to implement for myself and even for those around me. Setting something like a 1-month goal with, say, weekly or bi-weekly checkpoints or milestones. That makes the year so much more manageable, so much more bite-sized. Rather than looking at a goal like, I want to go to the gym every day, or I want to exercise every day, or I want to eat healthy every day. Sometimes for some people that could be a huge shift, especially if you're not going to the gym at all or you're not eating healthy at all. That's a massive change, and it's easy to fall back onto old patterns. Now, if you're able to set a monthly goal of, I want to eat healthy once a week, or I want to work out once a week, that's a lot more manageable. And once that becomes the pattern, once that becomes a habit, the next month you could say, I want to eat healthy twice a week. I want to work out twice a week. If you follow that pattern, by the time you get to July, August, you're now looking at 6 to 7 days a week you are exercising, eating healthy, or whatever your goal was. And that's hard to manage on January 1st when you try to go from 0 to 7 real quick. I feel like I went on a tangent about that just then, but I don't know, something about setting goals, it's just on my mind. A couple years back, I faced this situation in my life where I looked at where I was in college at the time, I wasn't happy, I didn't like what I was doing, and I could just tell that if I didn't make a decision then and there to do something different, that's what the next 5 to 10 years of my life would look like. I remember saying this line to myself in that moment. I remember saying, I don't regret the last 2 years of my life. I don't regret the last 2 years of college. But if I continue on this path, and in 5 or 10 years, I will be unhappy and unfulfilled, and I'll remember this moment, then I'll have to regret the next 5 years of my life. It was in that moment that I realized that if I knew that something was calling me and that I wasn't going to be fulfilled on a path and I didn't do anything and everything in my power to change it, I knew I would be filled with regret because I had the insight, I had the opening, it was there in front of me, and I chose not to take it. When I made that decision to leave college and to pursue my own path, I ended up feeling lost for a while. It actually took me about a year of working on myself and therapy and soul searching and reading and all the skill building you can imagine for me to really get on track to where I am now. And in that year, what really kept me going was setting small incremental goals. At first, I had help in therapy doing this. Then I had help within seminars doing this. Then I had a coach helping me do this. And I do it for myself now. And it's this discipline, it's this practice of measuring where my life is, knowing where my life is, really taking stock and choosing where I want to go. Because when I started this journey, when I was first deciding to leave college, I could have said some vague New Year's resolution type goal of, I want to fulfill my purpose or something, or I want to find out what my purpose is, or I want to be happier every day, whatever I was telling myself then. Because I'm going to be honest, I was telling myself these things. And that's why it was so important for me to have help, at least at the start, to make these smaller goals, the actionable goals, the things that actually drove me forward. Because then I was having goals every single week, small goals that I could do in a single day. But when I was getting help setting goals every single week, that's over 52 goals in a year. Because sometimes I set 2 or 3. But when I was doing that, think about how far you can go if you set 52 goals and achieve them all. Or maybe not all of them. Let's say you achieved 40 out of 52. Do you think that that would move the needle further than setting, say, 2 New Year's resolutions and maybe achieving half of one? If you have a big dream or a big goal out there, or a vision, an outcome that you want to achieve, what do you think it will take for you to get there? What decisions will you have to make? What paths will you have to pursue? Who will you need help from? Who will you help along the way? Answering questions like this help align you with your purpose, with your direction. I realize now that when I left and I set that quote unquote goal of I want to discover my purpose, that became more of a vision of mine. But I had to set smaller actionable goals. I could say now that I am very clear on that vision. My mission statement is the purpose of my life is to be a loving gift for myself and others. I know it's my purpose to support and love those around me. I do that in so many different ways. It could be physically, it could be financially, it could be energetically. I live my life now from a state of fulfillment and feeling purposeful because I made that my vision and I took steps to get there. I know that you have a dream. I know that you've had a dream that's been in your mind. Maybe it's in the back of your mind buried now. That could be because you haven't thought of it for a while, or you've purposely buried it because it scares you, or you're surrounded by people who tell you that you can't achieve that dream. I'm here to tell you that you can, because the thing about a dream is it only remains a dream when you leave it on the back burner like that. It only remains a dream when you don't think about it. It only remains a dream when you don't take steps to move forward. And they don't have to be big steps. I promise that any success story that you ever hear has the underlying theme that this person took action. Not always do they know if they're going to succeed or not, but without action, you can guarantee failure. So do something. Take a step. Sometimes that step is as little as sharing your dream. Who in your life could benefit from hearing about your dreams? Who could you inspire from your dreams? I can promise you this, that the answer is not no one. There are people looking to be inspired by you. So promise me and promise yourself that with your dream, you're going to take one small step today. It could be the smallest step, like making a decision, making a phone call, placing an order, whatever it is that your dream is. Take one small step today. And if you do that one small step once a week, you'll take 52 steps in a year. In 5 years, that would be 260 steps. And the more you take those steps, the bigger the steps become. And as you build that momentum, the faster they come as well. You'll surprise yourself and how fast you can achieve that dream. So don't hide any longer. Come share it with us. It's time for the world to see you at your brightest. Thank you so much for listening. I was kind of all over the place today, but that's just how it is when I'm speaking from my heart. At least that's how it is for now. So I thank you for being here. I thank you for listening. I hope, and pray that you take one small step today. And I hope you tune back in tomorrow for the next episode. Have a beautiful, wonderful day, and I'll see you there. I love you.